Welcome to Rugby AM here on Free Sports. We are joined once again by Jamie Jones-Buchanan, Leeds Rhinos star, who's on his way back. And on the sofa, as it's a War of the Roses special, we've got one proud Lancastrian, John Duffy, Featherstone coach, and a proud Yorkshireman. He's hanging on, but he's still here. Danny Kermon, the Wakefield Trinity captain. You both recently signed new deals. Kermon, you've managed to get a year out of Carts. How were the negotiations?
There weren't any, basically. He said it's that or nothing, and I said, yeah, deal. No, but in all seriousness, it was pretty easy. Michael's an honest guy. I've been there a long time and worked with him for a while now, so it was an easy deal to get done.
You signed it just in time, didn't you? Because you've just done it again, haven't you?
Yeah. It's, they say rugby league's a game of timing, Jonesy, and I think he might be seeing if there's a little comeback on that deal, but yeah, I got in there just in time.
Have you got a bad injury? Is it all right?
Not too bad, yeah. I've just got a bit of a tear in my cartilage, which will probably need a little bit of cleaning up, but just part and parcel of it, really, and I'm used to it by now.
Duff, you let Moz down.
I didn't.
He didn't play for Lancashire. You said, he's told me you'd be honoured to play for the big man. And
you stitched me up.
I stitched you up big time.
Stitched you up a little bit.
Oh, big time, stitched you up. But recently, you've had a great start to your career at Featherstone. Awarded a new deal at the end of April. It must have felt good.
Yeah, we're great. You know, we've had a big off season this year, and the lads were brought in, and everyone who stayed from last year have all bought into what I want to do in the vision that we want to go in, and we're doing all right. So
I remember when John Sharp left the club and they would talk about this person, that person, and when I spoke to a couple of people, obviously in the know, and they said they were so impressed by the brand of rugby you were playing down at Swinton. Is that what you've tried to bring across to Featherstone?
yeah, obviously everyone sees a game in their own way, and tries to play a good brand of rugby. Did all right at Swinton, got them promoted first season I was in, and then obviously the phone call came from Mark Campbell, which came out of the blue, shocked me. We had a good chat and got something sorted.
What have you learned at Featherstone in this year? I think it's a really interesting place for rugby league, and we did a training session against Fev, and I thought it was interesting the calls that you've got, because they call things like minor or pit or donkey or something that's themed with that area. So
yeah, they're all like mining and pit calls and stuff like that. So they had most of them in before I arrived, and I just kept them in. Everyone knows what they are, but yeah, it's all around like the town and what's come from the town with the pit.
All comes down to identity again. So what have you learnt this year, and what are your aspirations going into the future?
Well, I think if you look at our division this year, it's obviously the toughest one. Yeah. Toughest one yet. That Lee came down, Toronto have been amazing, who've come up as well. So it's been the toughest year, but just staying with it, and we can't afford to have a week off or a minute off. Otherwise you get burnt like we did last month. We didn't win a game, so that was a tough month for us, but we're back on the horse now, and we got another good result at Sheffield on Saturday.
Did you think this season, looking at it, that, because I look at the division and I think it's the best quality it's ever been, and I've been to quite a few championship games this year. I'm really it's very entertaining for the division. It's a bit of biff, but also a lot of good rugby players in there. Like Sir Luke Briscoe, we were talking to the other night, who played for Leeds, and he'd come off the field, he's like, oh, I can't wait to get to part time. And he enjoys the environment you've created. And he actually, when I was speaking to him, he actually likes his rugby at Featherstone.
Yeah, it's tough being part time, especially with all the full time teams in our league. But we just want to make sure that our lads have been grafting all day at work, and then I don't want them turning the corner onto Post Office Road and thinking, oh God, I've got to go to this now. But I want them to be excited, come to training and have a good environment, which we have.
You've got a few players who've probably been a bit madhouse in their career. How do you cope with them, like Sir Gazok and Jay Walton and Big Richie Moore?
Big Richie! What are you doing, Jonesy?
Well, they are definitely characters, but they're all good people underneath. You hear things, but Gaz has been great around the group this year. Rich has always been the life and soul of the party, which you'll know about. And Jay's knuckled down, to be fair. He had a knee recon, and he was doing double days, coming in and getting a bit of treatment off waking, because they're training at our spot. So he's been great. He's not, his head's not fell off yet this season.
I once roomed with Richie Moore in Fiji. We went to Fiji for 2 weeks. And I was in the room and I just went out. I went for my dinner. I come back and all beds were upside down. Telly had been knocked over. And I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "There's 2 lizards in here. I need to find them." I was like, it was just right then. You see 2 lizards. I'd say it, Barnport.
Did he find them?
I don't know, no, I never saw him, but he's an interesting character. Simo tries to tell us every week that 4 teams are going to come up from Championship this year.
No, minimum 2.
He keeps telling us there's a good chance 4. We've probably got it in archives somewhere.
Yeah.
But he's talking about the quality of the Championship. Do you think that's a good possibility?
I think anything could happen this year. You know, there's some good teams in our division this year, some great players, and it will be very entertaining when it splits to see how everyone goes. But yeah, I think with our division, with us not having many you know, TV games or, you know, going to video rest or anything like that, that's why you do get a little bit of biff, and the fans get excited, and there's no stoppages or anything like that. So I think it's been great this season.
And when you do get TV games, you make it count, as we saw against Hull.
No comment.
Looking at it this year, I do honestly feel like there's going to be at least 2 teams coming up. We'll talk about that more after we go and see Yorkshire coach Lee Crooks, absolute legend, and he really got into it, didn't he, this week? He changed his starting lineup, and he dropped Jimmy Lowes from starting lineup. His first call was to drop Jimmy Lowes for Graham Steadman.
Well, Steady's a legend. He's good, Steady. He's about 50-year-old now. 56.
56.
Wow.
56.
Mate, he looks about 36.
Absolutely outstanding. So let's go over and hear from Crooks as he gives us his hard as nails.
My name's Lee Crooks, and these are my 5 toughest opponents. Bearing in mind that I played in a totally different era to the modern day game as it is now, and I will say it was a lot more brutal than it is now, and there was less cameras. So, number 5, Kurt Sorensen, and they might all be Kiwis actually, these, when I reel them off. Kurt Sorensen, very uncompromising player, physical, and I had to learn at a very early age that there were certain players that you didn't mess about with and certain players that you could, and Kurt was one of those that you certainly didn't want to mess about with on the rugby field. Number 4, Kevin Tamati, again, had a number of run-ins with Kevin and that in regards to just trying to lay the law down, I think, more than anything else. But, you know, Kevin was a great bloke off the field, but obviously very uncompromising on the field, and he could handle himself a little bit, as well as Greg Dowling found out in one of the test matches against Australia at Lang Park. I'm fortunate enough to think that he didn't get the better of me as much as he did Greg Dowling. So, number 3 would be Les Davidson. Les Davidson, Australian front rower, played for Souths, also played for Warrington. Very tough, again, front rower. Not physically dirty, if you know what I mean. He was quite a nice bloke actually, but just the size of him, and you knew that he was always going to be in for a rough ride when you played against Les Davidson. Number 2 would be Paul Cullen. Paul Cullen was an irritant. He was also quite a nasty person. Again, on the field, great bloke off the field. And I think, to be fair, back in the day, I think most players were very nice blokes off the field. But on the field, we had to muscle up, and we had to make sure that we got who was the top of the pecking order, basically, and that was the way the game was played at that particular time. So, but Paul was an aggressive player, and again, you knew what you were going to get with Paul. And I can remember going down, and we ended up knocking on from the kick-off, I think it was, and the scrum, we were packing down in the scrum, and I said to Les Boyd, because I thought this could be a bit tasty here. So I said to Les Boyd, how are we going to play this then? So he looked at me and he said, what do you mean? I said, well, we can either go at it hammer and tong, or it's the last game of the season, isn't it? Right, so he turned around to me and said to me, I'll tell you what, when it's your head, it's your head, and when it's my head, and we'll leave it at that. And we said, that'll do for me. And that's how it went. And obviously that boils down to, my number one toughest player was Les Boyd. I first played against Les as a 19-year-old playing for Great Britain in 1982. And we had a couple of run-ins in the first test. And I was always one for not wanting to get the better of, letting people get the better of me. So sometimes I got a good idea in, but I still kept going, and obviously, as I said, you generally learn as you went on about players that you could and couldn't mix with. And obviously Les was they kept saying to me, why are you going to keep at it? Why are you keeping at it at Les? Why you keep at him? And I said, well, I'm not going to let him get the better of me. And this went on for a number of years. 84 was another one where we got back in there. So it had all that 82 test series, and then 84 we went at it. And then he come over to the UK, and we obviously had a couple of run-ins there. But again, you know, as a bloke, fantastic bloke off the field, an ex-Western Suburbs player, which was fantastic, because obviously I went over and played for Western Suburbs in 1985 and 86. So, and then he went from West, I think, to Manly. So, but yeah, he would probably be the toughest player I've played against.
Les Boyd getting the #1 spot, and you met Les Boyd in '98. Tell us the story, Duffy.
Yeah, we went over on the World Cup Challenge, and he obviously with him having Warrington ties, he came seeing Paul Cullen. Picked him up in this ute, and we didn't see Paul for 4 days.
Kidnapped him.
He kidnapped him, took him pig hunting and boozing. So it was rough when he got back, Cull.
Do you still keep in touch with everyone from your playing days? Is it obviously you've got the second best job in rugby, coaching, but you still got a lot of ties with the lads you played with? Yeah,
through the years, I think everyone does, don't you? You keep in touch with most people who you've come to touch with playing. And some characters.
Who's the best player you've ever played with?
Alan Langer, when he came to Warrington. Lee Breeze was class. I used to love playing with Lee as well. Yeah, probably them two.
About yourself, Kermo?
I'd probably say either Brett Hodgson, who I played with at Giants, or Tim Smith. Probably Timmy just edge it, I reckon.
Yeah, that good?
Yeah, it's special, yeah, what he could do. And he was a character as well, off field, so it probably adds a little bit to it.
Geniuses always are, though, aren't they? They're always on the edge, they're on that fine line between complete insanity and just being brilliant.
Yeah, I don't know if Timmy used to hop either side of it. Like, he used to bob to one side for a couple of weeks and then bob back to other. But yeah, he's just a brilliant bloke, absolutely harmless, and yeah, great fun to be around. Yeah.
Talk to us about your season so far at Wakey. How would you rate your season out of 10 so far?
It's an hard one, really. I'd probably say about a 7. And some people might say, well, you're sitting in 6th and you're not too far away from the bottom 4. But I think if you look at what we've tried to do over the years, we've always talked about changing the perceptions of other clubs about our club, and I think we've really managed to do that. I think we've not really had any blowout scores at all this year. We've lost, I think, 6 or 7 by less than 10 points, less than 6 points, and you know, for us to do that with the budget that we run on as well, I think it's a really good thing. So I might even knock it up 1 to an 8. I think it's just disappointing, you know, to have lost them games. But I think how competitive we've been in them has been really good. So yeah, it's the best year that I've probably had while I've been at the club.
Jonesy, like Bish obviously leaving Leeds, out of all players who've left over the years, who would you like to see back? If you could pick one back, who would you take back out of all of them?
We can't have him back now because he's retired, but it probably had been Gaz Ellis. We had him on there last week when he left.
Who's still playing though? If you could pick any of them back, who you train when you look at them how they've gone away and done well, who would you have back?
It's a bit of a brain freeze. I think Bish should be up there. It's a tough one. There's been a lot of lads who've gone. Look at Luke Gale. We talked about him. How good he's become. World class, hasn't he? And he started off as a Leeds boy, and it's great. There's a lot of them come through the system at Leeds and move on and become stars elsewhere. But I think Luke Gale would be up there somewhere.
Go on then, Gailey lad. Can't believe you said that. It's Gailey. No joke. Right, it's time to go host the AJ Bell to catch up with the Salford teammates and see how they're getting on.
Hi, my name's Daniel Murray. I'm a prop forward at Salford Red Devils, and my nickname is Dizzy.
Hi, my name's Gavin Benyon. I'm also a prop at the Salford Red Devils, and my nickname is Gav. Oh, yeah. Probably have to say Levy Onzungu.
He thinks he's English.
He thinks he's English, but
English, but
he's born in Congo.
He's born in Congo. He came to France when he was 8 years old, and he's 19 years of age.
He claims he's 19. We think he's about 27.
Yeah.
So. Biff. Luke Burgess likes to wear.
Luke Burgess loves it.
Yeah. He's got a decent rig as well.
Jono loves it.
Jono loves it.
Jono, Greg Johnson, he loves it all the time.
Diz is up there.
Yeah, just my awful tan line. And that's about it.
And a tattoo. Probably Levy again.
Yeah, Levy.
He's always eating.
Once he came in at 10:30 and he was having chicken and rice at 10:30 in the morning. Yeah, that was one time.
I think he'll get in the morning. He'll have eggs with toast,
4 pieces of toast.
And then for his lunch he'll have 2 lunches, chicken rice,
chicken pasta, and then he'll
he's
have
just forever eating it.
Yeah, 4 protein shakes a day.
He's probably he'll have to go to Levy again. He loves his food.
Oh, it's an hard one, that one.
Moose is probably in there.
Lee Mossop, he's up there.
Lee Mossop's tight. I would say Levy again, but that's just because he's never got any money. The day he gets paid, he's gone within 2 days. So.
There's always something.
Yeah, there's always
his car, or he's got to pay for something for his girlfriend, or his car again. So it's one of them. Yeah. One of them 3. Chris Wellham. 100%.
We've got a few. You're one of them.
100% Chris Wellham.
You're one of them.
And I'm strawberry blonde.
No, you're ginger.
Strawberry blonde. Gavin.
Nah.
100% Gavin. He won't let me see her, but that means only one thing. It's got to be Levy again.
Nah, he's not. Levy, he's not the worst trainer. He's just a bit of an idiot at times.
But like I said, Lee Mossop's, he's been standing outside all week.
We just had toughest week since pre-season and training. And Moose has just been having a cigar, just chilling.
Did he even pass me a water bottle today?
There might be a bit of a forfeit, kangaroo court.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be tossed up.
So yeah, probably Moose.
Ben Nakumbuwai.
Yeah, Ben Nakumbuwai. He's anything his missus says, he's there. He has to do it.
He has to do it. Drop of a hat.
Yeah.
Oh, Ryan Lannon as well.
Oh, 100%.
Ryan Lannon. I was cutting his hair last week, and his phone never went off, and he had to go early because his missus were kicking off of him. Lee Mossop. Dad and lad.
Yeah, Dad and lad. Yeah. Lee's probably, Watto's probably Moose's son, isn't he?
Yeah, Moose's son. But Sonny never had,
yeah. Probably me. Nah, pre-season.
Lama Weller's good. Levy's strong.
Dizzy's quite strong.
Strong.
Shoulder press.
Yeah, strong. big, like.
Yeah, I'm quite big.
Got a long range of movement, you know, so it's hard for you.
Quite athletic. Yeah, so I can play centre.
Yeah, quite athletic.
Probably about Lannan again.
Yeah, Lannan.
At this stage in his life. He'd probably just, as soon as he gets the text, he'll gone straight away out the door.
Luke Burgess.
Jono's got Jono's up there with that. Jono's got to be here.
George Griffin's up there.
Yeah, George
Griffin's up there.
George likes it. We have a good dig.
Yeah, we try.
I enjoy it.
We can't go as long as George Griffin. Jono.
Yeah,
Johnson.
Well, he's not Twitter, he's more Instagram.
Oh, he's Instagram stuff.
Jono's bad on Instagram. Every day he's got something on in his car, pouting, something like that.
Carpool, karaoke and all that jazz.
But if you were wanting to say Twitter, Junior loves it. Junior loves his Twitter.
He loves the social media.
He loves thanking the fans.
Niall Green. Niall Evolds.
Niall Green?
Niall Evolds, yeah. He loves a promo.
Yeah, he does like a promo now. So, yeah.
Me.
It is.
21st century man, I like my products, I like to take care of myself.
He has a lot of hair and shampoo that he's got a lot of hair on him, so he's...
Murray man, you see.
If it's not clean, it starts to smell a bit. So he's got to get it. He has to make sure he's clean.
It's great to hear there from Daniel Murray and Gavin Benyon, two stars of the future, dishing the dirt on the teammates. Jonesy, NCL War of the Roses, Yorkshire winning 38-12. Great performance.
Yeah, really good, wasn't it? The dominated field position, and Andrew Henderson, he spoke really well on game day. I thought Yorkshire just had that little bit more quality about them. As I say, we spent most of the time in the Lancashire half, but overall I just think it was a great spectacle, and to see both sets of lads come over and compete the way they did, and it seemed to mean quite a lot to them, and it was just a great spectacle, mate. Really enjoyed it.
Well, one thing we did do this week was we wanted to make it a best possible experience for the NCL boys, and I think, to be fair to Mark Weevil and all the people who put the day together on the day, it was superb to see all the name tags up on the changing rooms, walls above the shirts. I thought it was a really nice touch. But the night before, we put them into camp, and they stayed at Wheatwood Hall. Big thanks to Wheatwood Hall for facilitating the day. Give them a shirt presentation dinner. Check it out. Here's a little bit of a taste of what they did the night before as well, getting a coach down to Castleford. Big thanks to Cass for all the work they did. We'll see you in part 2 from Oral BM. Keep it locked, keep it free sports.
We've come down to Wheatwood Hall tonight to do the shirt presentation for both the Yorkshire and the Lancashire sides, and to try and treat them to something a little bit different for them the night before a game, so they can prepare and relax in the sort of style that professional players might do.
Getting picked for it's an honour and a start, representing your county. It's that first step of the representative ladder, and getting to mingle and interact and bond with the guys from other clubs in your area that you normally beating the living daylights out of on a normal league week, and they're beating the living daylights out of you. So yeah, it was an absolute honour handing the shirts out to the Lancashire guys tonight. Some people handed me shirts out throughout my career at different representative stages, and it's stuck with me still. So it was a great evening for that.
To be able to present the Yorkshire boys with their shirts tonight and allow them to cherish that moment and try and encourage them to make the most of the experience is a great honour.
It's going to be a great game. Lads are pumped up for it, especially knowing that we've had to share a bus coming down here, so lads are pretty pumped now, so yeah, we're looking forward to it.
I played here about 4 or 5 years ago at Academy, and it'll be the first time I've played here since, so nice big pitch is different to what I'm used to, so yeah, I'm enjoying it.
It means a lot, obviously, when Simo spoke to me about it, and I spoke to the coaches. It's a massive honour, and I'll do my best in leading these boys.
It's a very good feeling, always good to represent your country or county or whatever it is, so hopefully we can just get a win. That's the most important thing.
Well, first and foremost, we're hoping for a win. You know, we haven't trained much together, but we all know how to defend. And out off back of that with a 0, we'll defend. We'll try and defend to 10 penalties and defend to 10 points and take away the win.